Now, the 5 points to perfectly formatting your manuscript are really quite simple. As you can see here, I have the example of the title page again, and here I enlarge the upper portion to point out points 1 and point 2. Point 1 being to your top left of your manuscript. This is where you're going to put your information, your author information. That would be your name, your address, email, and phone number. Uh, Obviously, this is the information the editor needs to give you a reply, either saying yay or nay to your manuscript, hopefully yay. To the top right of the page, here and here, you're going to want to put a word count. And this should be an approximate word count. Okay? Editors, particularly editors who still use print magazines, they need to have a word count to determine if and how your words can fit into the publication. There's a economical aspect to this, more in print than in electronic or e-publications. So don't be discouraged if you have a longer story and you're afraid it might not make it to a print magazine. You simply have to research the market that's going to accept larger stories. And don't cheat. Be truthful about the word count. To be quite honest, most editors are so experienced they can typically eyeball and estimate a word count on first glance. So, not being truthful about the word count is not going to endear you to the publication process. Okay, so we're going to continue on with the 5 points to perfect formatting. On to point 3, indicated by that yellow curved arrow. So point 3 is simply you want to leave space between the author contact info and your word count and your title and byline. This space is typically left for deciding editors that read your manuscript. This is where they make their notes. And oftentimes there are several editors that need space to write notes about your story. Okay, so that's pretty critical because those notes get circulated, and that's how they decide a lot of times how a story is going to get picked and published. As far as your point 4, as far as your title and your pen name or author's name, you want it centered and properly capitalized, right? So you know how to you capitalize a story, the first letter of each word, unless it's a article, a conjunction, or preposition, words like a, and, or with, or nor. And once you place your title and byline, you're going to double space twice, and that's where your story would begin. Well, we've arrived at point 5, the 5th point of the 5 points to perfect formatting. And point 5 is simply to insert or add with the beginning of page 2, you want to add a well, we've arrived at point 5, the 5th point to perfect formatting. And like the previous points, point 5 is pretty straightforward and simple. You're simply going to, beginning with page 2, you're going to insert a header into your manuscript. This header is very important because it's an identifier, as you are not going to staple your manuscript or the pages of your manuscript together. Paper clipping is fine because it's removable, but you do not want to staple your manuscript, and as a result, pages can get shuffled or missing as a result of the readings as they circulate. So, to combat that, this is why you insert that header to ensure that your manuscript stays intact. And the sequence is simple. The sequence is the surname of your pen name or your author name with the backslash, a title or partial title. So if your title is like The Murder, then that obviously would fit. But say your title was The Talented Mr. Ripley, then you might want to modify it to just say The Talented or Mr. Ripley, or some indicator that this is your story. And you're going to backslash and end it with the page number. So obviously it's page 2. The subsequent page will be page 3. And this header runs throughout the length of your manuscript to the conclusion.